Of Mert and Lucas Live. Mert Roberts joins me now. Welcome in. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Bianca.
You know, Kamala Harris, at first there was, when will she do the interview? Now it's, she'll do an interview, but she's also not doing it alone. All of this seems to be very undemocratic. The one thing that they're claiming they're trying to preserve.
Well, you know what I think about this? I think that because this whole scenario where she replaced Biden is such a new thing. I don't think it's ever happened before. I think she's not prepared. And I think because she's not prepared, they're being very careful with what they allow her to do. Because if she goes out there and she starts talking, I think because she's not prepared with a definite plan and she doesn't have definite policies that she wants to put in place, she has these makeshift policies that she wants to put in place. But I don't think she has anything definite that she can, give in-depth answers to and, have reasoning for it. So I think because of that, she's on a pathway where she wants to be very careful. Her handlers, they're being very careful with what she does because
Sure.
she has a lot of positive momentum right now.
Yeah, well, of course they're being.
One false. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, of course they're being careful, but that's a disservice to American voters. You're right. That is their strategy. It's like the basement in Biden 2020 all over again. We know the playbook here. Let's widen out the conversation, bring in our other panelist here, attorney and Democratic strategist Michael Wilson. Michael, you've been pretty, open about the fact that she's got to get in front of reporters. Now she is, but it's CNN. Okay. Somewhat friendly. They've had 3 interviews with Bash, but she's not even alone. So optics of this, also as a woman, shouldn't she be out there? John Glasgow said, why would Hillary have sat down with Tim Kaine? I think we know the answer is no.
Right. And I think you will see that. Obviously, this is a new team here. So in the strategy, whatever, the Democrats have done, her handlers, has worked. There's a big bump in the polls. So I think, from what happened from the last debate with Biden, which was a nightmare, you have Kamala and you have Walz. And I think you're going to see that. You're going to see the interviews come out. It's going to be rolled out slowly so that she's prepared. This is one shot here, elections coming up. Oh. And as we know, when it comes to interviews and debates, you just go back to the 60s, Kennedy versus Nixon. Nixon looked horrible, which led Kennedy to win a close contest.
Okay, so you think she's actually going to do a one-on-one sit-down interview after this one? This is just a primer.
Exactly. Yep, to get her feet wet.
All right. Well, there's a lot going on in the world. I would hope, as the vice president already, that her feet are wet. How about this, though? We'll talk about Walz, and there's this TikTok video. He went on this account. This guy rides the subways, and Tim Walz is talking about home ownership, and he says, well, the clean gutters, that's what I'm really, focused on. And HuffPost, super liberal, says it's hilarious. I don't know if a lot of people are laughing about these trivial things like his dog's in vogue. We're talking about people who cannot even buy a home. The American dream slipping away, according to the Wall Street Journal, breaking this afternoon. It feels out of reach for most people, and nearly half of Americans, 43%, are struggling just to make mortgage payments on time. Mert, come on now. Can we actually talk about things that matter to people that actually aren't just about cleaning gutters?
Well, if you don't really have a solution to figure out how to improve people's lives, which most politicians, they don't really have the answers. All they can do is try to make people feel better. So what they're doing here is they're trying to get the focus off the dreariness, the bleakness that's out there for most people, under both administrations. To be honest, people have been suffering under both administrations. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make their candidate look good. So,
well, I think they do have the answers. I think the no tax on tips was really popular, and Donald Trump talked about it in Nevada, helps working folks, and she stole it. Also, you say most politicians don't have the answers. Under Donald Trump, we know the African-American unemployment rate fell to the lowest rate in 45 years. Things were better under that administration. So, yes, we do elect leaders who hopefully do want to help us and enact policies that don't bankrupt us. Michael, I have about 20 seconds. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's everyday stuff. What Walz is basically, communicating to what he wants, that base, which is the Reagan Democrats, the blue-collar workers, Dems out there, that they need to get past that blue wall and establish themselves. Listen, not just the housing bill, but I think they have a plan to address housing, to address the cost of milk, bread, butter, the basic necessities that people need every day.
Well, they want to give illegal immigrants $150,000 in loans, and that passed in California. And then we find out today, oh, yeah, that wasn't funded. So a lot of talk about helping people, whether it be with housing, but it's helping illegals. And the concern about defaulting and ruining the housing market is something to consider. I'm not an economist, but these are simple things that I think a lot of Americans are looking at and considering. I appreciate you both. I hope to have you back here soon. Mert Roberts, Michael Wilson. Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we are on the trail again, waiting for J.D. Vance to speak in Pennsylvania. And also ahead, Ambassador John Bolton will join us talking about the latest in the Middle East, of course, the hostage